seatbelt to kind of take us to those moments of that we've had on our bikes and, had either fun or interesting memories. So I'm Christy Goforth. I'm the Executive Director of Bikes for Kids Wisconsin. Really glad to have all of you here. One thing I did mention to some people who came early is this is being live streamed on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So I will send that link out to you in case you want to refer to it later. I'll send that after the meeting. And if we tend to go long, because this is a lot of information and some of the questions we got at the last session were fantastic, then you can come back if you need more time to kind of hear those questions. We've got partners here in the room from homeless shelters, refugee networks, mountain bike teams for youth, and probably more. So I didn't get to say hi to everybody individually. So little about Bikes for Kids Wisconsin is we are a staff of 3. There's myself. I have my operations manager, Ryan Harvey, and sitting over here assisting me is Ben Andrews. He's our volunteer coordinator and our operations coordinator. We are, like many of you in the nonprofit world, we're stretched thin and we're always, pedaling in high gear. You may get sick of all the puns I use. So our mission that is to increase the use of bicycle-based transportation for underserved communities through access, low-cost repairs, and education. We do serve all people. It's just that we have to focus on the smaller kids a lot, because if you don't learn to ride as a child, that opportunity to use a bicycle as transportation will not be there for you as an adult. We do serve all people, and we're really focused on the financially challenged folks, the people who can't afford their own cars, are struggling with transportation to work, to school, and really just to get connected to their communities. We do have an annual budget of $235,000. I just like to be really transparent about that, because we are probably a statewide organization that has the smallest budget. So we are, know that we're always running in many directions, and we do struggle with financial resources. We realize we have to change a culture about the way people think about bicycles, that they're not just a fitness opportunity or a recreational option. So that takes a lot of time for us to build. So we're going to go over 3 sections. We'll talk first about the application process, then we'll talk about the registration process and the distribution process. So our application process, like I didn't mention it, but the link to that page is in the chat. So it's under the donate button on our website, bikesforkidswi.org. You'll see a lot of information there, and we try to cover many things, but boy, transportation is multifaceted, and transportation equity work is complex. And so our application season will open October 15th, and it will be open till December 15th. So on our website, that form, there you will see an application. It's a Google application. It will go live, and we ask that you fill it out. You can request 1 bicycle, but you can also request up to 100 bicycles. So know that we wish we were a bicycle ferry and there was an infinite supply, but there's not. And really, all of our bikes are donated to us. We do not purchase any bikes. And yes. She wants the application link in the chat. Let me try to do that. I'm double tasking here, multitasking. So do that one more time here. Getting it back over into the chat. There we go. So every bike, really the reason people typically donate bicycles is because they're broken and they realize they haven't been riding them. So if we take probably about 2 hours have to be invested into every bicycle we give away. We give away around 2,000 bikes a year. Last year we hit an all-time high because demand is high, and we gave away 2,518 bicycles. We did that through 40 partners. So if 40 partners request 100 bicycles, you can see now we're at 4,000. We could never meet that kind of demand. But what we do is we really like to, our ferry skills are sprinkling the bikes throughout the state. So what we'll do is you may not get 100, but we might be able to say we can give you 60. And we don't know what that looks like until we're well under the process. Our bike collection season, we focus heavily on that in the fall and winter. to, help people clean out their garages. So we don't have control of our inventory. And that is one of the things that makes things very challenging on our end. Let's see, you will be notified in mid-January about receiving bicycles. And like I said, if you apply, we've never had a situation where we did not give you bicycles, so long as you met our bike distribution policy measures, which I will put that in the chat right now. It's on that page, but I will link it directly to you. And it's just that you are serving financially challenged individuals, that you're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, or you're a government jurisdiction, a public school, a tribal entity, something like that. You'll see all of those details in the partner policy. Okay, and then we'll move on. So after you receive your email in mid-January notifying you that you are a bike distribution partner, we will then step into the registration process. What you will receive is an email with quite a few instructions, but it's really not that hard of a process. Well, I say that on my end. You have the harder work on your end, because bicycles are like shoes. You can't just say, I have a 10-year-old girl. We have to know their height, because we've seen 10-year-old girls that are taller than me and some that are half the size of me. Age is not a good indicator of bicycle size. So the registration sheet is a Google form. It looks very much like an Excel spreadsheet. And we ask for name. If you're in an institution where you can't give the full name, that is fine. All of those names are going to be associated with a number, so we can use a number system as well. We ask for the height. We ask for the gender preference. We do ask for the zip code, and then we ask for some race data as well, because that's really helpful for us when we're crunching all our numbers at the end of the year to see what populations we served, and that helps us in our grant applications. We'll give you a deadline on that registration sheet, and it's kind of a hard deadline, but know that we understand all of the challenges that people in our lines of work are up against. So we can work with you. The next thing we're going to talk about is this distribution process. And one factor in the registration process ties into the distribution. Like, say you want to get your bikes in March, you want to get your bikes as early as possible. So the sooner you get that sheet to us, the sooner we can meet that need. If you're doing one of our 3 distribution kind of processes. The 3 processes for distribution are our in-person bicycle giveaway, which happens right outside this window, where we have about 1,500 people on the premises. This typically works for people in Dane County. They come, they get a Cadillac experience, they get to shop for bicycles, we fit helmets, and we teach to learning how to ride and all of that. If that doesn't work for you, and I recognize a lot of you here in this room, that is not going to be feasible for you. So then you might want to look at our bulk pickup load, which is where you bring a truck to our bike center and we choose the bicycles. This is the one drawback of that. Sometimes it's really nice to choose your own bicycle, and we really try to give a very dignified experience, because we recognize a lot of the people we're serving are first generation bike owners, and they just don't know how bikes work, or that there's an inner tube that could go flat in the wheel. So thinking about all of that. So in the bulk load, what we typically do is, so it's really critical that your height data is accurate, because what you'll find is on the saddle will be number 1, and then that will be a bike that is sized for that 10-year-old girl at 4'6". So that's really critical. It's the data input on height is critical for every one of these aspects, because we have to pull each. So if, let's say, Steve here has applied for 50 bicycles, what it looks like on our end is we fix the 50 bikes that he wants, and we have a section in our bike center that is reserved for Steve, and it's taped off, and we know those bikes are set for him and they're ready to go. So in the bulk loads, you can schedule to get your bikes as early as March 1st if you want to do that. That is actually really helpful for us, because we then prioritize who's coming first, and we set your bikes closest to the loading dock, and it helps us make space in our bike center, because we get filled, like literally the bikes are to the ceiling, and we're talking 3 levels deep. We'll have probably close to 3,000 bikes in here at that time. So that's kind of the registration process. I will stop right here because I probably missed something. And so if anyone has a question, I'll pause for 30 seconds here. If you had any questions, if there's anything I really, oh, I did miss one thing. The other third process of distribution is the voucher program. So we work with a local organization here that serves homeless individuals. And so they don't want 50 bikes at once. They have nowhere to store that. So we design a voucher for them. They work with us, and their constituent then brings a voucher to our bike shop. When they're here, we had this happen yesterday. We didn't know he was coming. A lot of times it's nice to have an appointment, but that's fine. We can work with it. He was a very tall individual, but we found a great bike that worked for him. We showed him how to lock a bicycle, because security is very important, especially if you don't have indoor storage. We showed him just basic bike maintenance, because that's the other thing when you're dealing with vehicles, and bikes are vehicles in the state of Wisconsin, is they require continuous maintenance. So the pumping of tires, adjusting handbrakes, whatever that be. So if we can empower that individual to know a little about that, we do usually give an Allen wrench, because that can be just a great tool to have. So those are our 3 systems: the voucher, the bulk loads, and the in-person giveaway. That in-person giveaway will be the first Saturday in April, which I believe is April 4th this year, I think. So now I'll do a real pause. If there's any questions.
So Easter is the Sunday the 5th. Is that gonna change anything?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, we should change that. Thank you so much. Brilliant woman, Michelle. Thank you. Yeah,
You're
we're going to
welcome.
want to shift that, because it takes about 80 volunteers for us to do that here. We do have a lot of folks that schedule their bulk loads on that day as well, which is fantastic, because we have all those volunteers here ready, and the street is closed down. We can get your truck in, and we can have those all set up for you. So stay tuned. I will say, if you go to any page on our website, so bikesforkidswi.org, if you scroll to the bottom, you can subscribe to our e-newsletter. We typically only send one a month, but right now I'm just kind of warming people up in that newsletter. Get ready to apply for bikes. That is just around the bend. So we won't spam you, and we won't sell your contact information. Thank you again, Michelle. Great point. Ben, what do you think? We would look at, this is where climate really has been factoring in. We used to do these giveaways in May, and 2 years ago, we had people wanting their bikes in February because it was 70 degrees and we were not even close to ready. So this last year, we bumped everything back a month earlier. And so now I'm even bumping it back earlier, because, people are ready to ride in March often. So chances are we'll go a week earlier on Easter. I think that, because you could do a family bike ride on Easter, very possible. So yeah, so please stay tuned on that, and that will all be posted on our website. Okay, so anything else, and we'll just do a little wake up call. Okay, we will move on. I want to talk a little about fees. So last year we had to implement some fees. When I took over in 2020, it was really just, we gave everything away for free. And I realized very quickly we were not going to survive if we kept doing that. So we did have to transition our business model. I'll mention quickly now, we have given away 13,900 bicycles, and that's a tune of over $3.5 million in vehicles. The bikes we're giving away are wonderful, and that's primarily due to Dane County and the love of bicycles in Dane County. There are probably about 3 million bicycles in Dane County, and they come to us over and over, and it's amazing. The fire hose never shuts off. They just keep coming. So the bicycles you'll get will be really in great condition. Some of them might be older, but they might be steel bicycles that have great bones, and we can fix those. In all honesty, like a lot of newer bicycles that you're buying, say if you go to Walmart, those are not bikes that are going to last long term. A lot of those do not even have parts in the supply chain. So once they break, they are done. So we're really looking at your shop quality brands, which are like Trek and Giant and Cannondale and Schwinn and some of these other good brands. So know that that's our focus. We will be charging, we have to charge an application fee because we tried to figure out a way not to extend this charge onto the recipients, who are people who are financially challenged, but instead we're placing it on the organization. So $25 per bicycle is what we're asking for. That is subsidized by us by about 85%. It costs us easily $150 to get to tune up that bike, to collect that bike, to move it around. It's probably been, by the time your constituent receives it, it's been touched over 20 times by us, moving and fixing and pumping up tires, whatever it be. So there is that application fee. I would really recommend you going to past supporters and sponsors, or maybe your bank, your local bank, and ask if they want to sponsor you in that. And we have found that to be a pretty, like, everybody wants to sponsor people getting bicycles. So know that we're seeing businesses draw back, but you want to keep that in mind when you think about how deep do I want to jump into this 100 bicycle request. You know, maybe you want to dip your toe in and start with 20, and that might be a really sound strategy. I want to talk about helmets. We don't provide helmets, but what we do and we don't give you a helmet, but we work with the American Family Children's Hospital here in Madison, Wisconsin, and that's where we order helmets for our partners, for our distribution partners. So if you want helmets, you let me know, and we will order them. We'll order a variety of sizes. I did check in with them because the tariffs are going to devastate the bicycling community, because pretty much all bicycles are made in China today. So we're going to see bicycles tripling and quadrupling in price here very soon. So helmets are also being affected. And so I asked her, we got them for $12 last year. And I asked her, what is the pricing looking like? And she said, yes, we are seeing it. It's already up to $25. So right now we're telling people, if you want to order helmets, know that that's going to cost $25. You can do that through us. We kind of will serve as the middleman on that. We'll do the invoicing for your bike, so we can add the helmets right on. And we can just give you those helmets in bulk if you decide, like maybe your bike recipients don't show up or whatever happens. We will give you those helmets. There are always people in need of helmets. So those are a couple pieces on that. I'm going to mention a couple of caveats that we've run into. So one thing is, we had someone one year, it was a school district who they were a bike distribution partner, and they put it on their social media. They said, today is the bike giveaway day. Come and get your free bikes. And the 80 people that they had registered came, but so did about 200 other people. And unfortunately, all my volunteers had to turn them away. It's parents with kids, and they're crying. You know, there's no crying in bicycling unless you have the incident that Ben just had, which was a crash this week. So we sorry to call you out on your crash. Yes, know that bike people crash too. So, but yeah, please don't do that. We publicize it after the event. And that's really great, because then, you know, we don't have to turn all those folks away. This year we had another new one that was new to us, and we added it to our list of the new way to destroy a nonprofit. And it was a school district employee that had heard about us, didn't call or talk to us about how the program works, but decided to send an email to 1,300 Spanish-speaking families saying, and this was in June, go to Bikes for Kids and get your free bikes. And oh boy, we got hundreds of emails. And not only did they come, but they told their neighbors and their cousins and their all kinds of people. So that was really difficult. We were very fortunate to have 2 Spanish speaking interns who were 14 years old and had to navigate those challenging conversations for us. But that's not the way our program works. It has to be very much registered because, like I said, we don't have an infinite supply. And if you have someone who needs a 20-inch bicycle, we might be out of those sizes and we just can't, call someone on a phone and say, bring us more 20-inch. So know that those are a couple things not to do. We'll take care of the publicity on our side. If you want to tag us in your posts afterwards, we love that because we cannot do our work without you. And we know this isn't easy work. The registration can be complicated. And I'll give you another tip. If you're registering, one thing people have done is they've put a tape measure on a door frame and they've hung a clipboard there, and they'll quickly, stop the kid or whoever it is. Hey, let me get you registered and measured. And they have you up on the door frame. They document it right there and then go back and manually fill in the sheet. So that can be a pretty good measure on kind of getting people who are coming and going. So I'm going to peek through my notes here and see what else I might have missed. I think really that's pretty much it. So I'll open it again to questions. And no, there are no dumb questions here. So, or comments. I'll fill Marty. Maybe Marty's got a question. Great. Thanks.
Yeah, I do have one. Do you ever, like we're working with a rural county, do you ever want us to round up bikes there that need to be repaired and bring them to you?
That would be wonderful. We love when that happens. We do have that happen. I will tell you, often police departments have, they have a lot of resources. So all the nods. They often will bring us their kind of I don't want to say confiscated bicycles, but bicycles that have maybe been stolen and they end up in their storage locker, right? And then nobody ever claims them. So they will bring us those unclaimed bicycles. So think of that as an option. We also have a partner in Neenah that takes our used bicycles and they bring them down to us, or we rent a truck and we'll go up and scoop them up. And so we just had a police department up there take all the bicycles there to Shop Dog Cycle in Neenah. If you go to the contact page on our website, you'll see that address there. So if you're in a rural community, know that that's kind of a self-serve drop-off point. Yeah. So I was going to mention another collaboration opportunity is we've worked a lot with Habitat for Humanity. They have a lot of trucks. They do a lot of building. So they have big trucks. They will often apply for bicycles and come down. But when they come down, they're bringing an empty truck. So we're like, oh, if you have a town near you, there are, I believe, over 30 chapters of those around the state. So when you see, we'll post it on our website who all the partners are. So take a look at that, and I'll put that in the newsletter as well, because then maybe you can find someone proximate to you. I often do kind of some matchmaking and say, hey, they're in your county, maybe you can double up, because transportation is just the barrier to all things. And we get it that it's not everyone has a truck. Not everyone has that ability to haul bicycles. Great comment. Thank you, Marty.
You've said that you rented a truck to go.
Yep.
What truck companies have you worked with who know how to transport bikes?
Oh, well, we do it on our own. So we get volunteers together. So we rent U-Haul or Penske's. Okay. We have worked with 2 Men in a Truck. They have helped us out. So that's another one that they've got a lot of locations in southern Wisconsin, all owned by the same owner. And know that Moving Trucks, we've seen Moving Trucks do this kind of sponsorship opportunity. So they once did we had a school district that got bikes, and they sent a moving truck and they sponsored that. And great publicity for them, right? They're community involved, they care, so sell that sponsorship opportunity. And I was going to say another one that we took advantage of once was a beer distribution company. So they're going with beer in a truck, and they're coming back empty. So whenever we think of those, we kind of really hop onto those opportunities. Yeah. I'll mention about, so when we're hauling broken bicycles in a 26-foot U-Haul, which is their biggest truck, we can fit about 250, and that's full to the top. When we're transporting repaired bicycles, we're not doing that, because what's going to happen? You're going to pull them off and they're going to be broken. So bicycles are not easy to transport. There's a lot of entanglement that can happen. We'll show you how to pack when you get here. And in a 26-footer of repaired bicycles, you're probably going to look at about 120 bikes tops, maybe even 80. It depends if they're little kid bikes versus adult size bikes. So know that that's kind of, if you're going for the 20-foot, which is your standard box truck, I think that's what Habitat for Humanity has. You can probably haul, typically we're going about maybe 60 bikes in a truck like that.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
So I'm with the Salvation Army in Rock County.
Okay, great.
Fun fact, we are just getting a Habitat for Humanity that's partnering with, I think, Walworth County and another one. So we're getting it in Rock County. So if you need that introduction, I'm happy to introduce you.
Wonderful.
There's a lot of nonprofits that work with families and kids out here, so I can help make those connections as well.
Wonderful.
But because I think this is amazing.
Yes.
And I don't know how practical this is, but I get very excited when there's opportunities like this. So every year we do a toy drive. It was called Toys for Tots, and now it's called Angel Tree that we do. We get toys for Christmas, new toys, new bikes and toys and everything like that for Angel Tree. This is kind of what I envision, and my thought of it is to possibly get in-person registration when families are coming to pick up toys for their families. They come and actually shop in the gym for their toys and their whole array, is to maybe have them pre-register for bikes for springtime, and have like, we don't encourage kids to come there, so it would be something that we would ask ahead of time and say height differences, because we don't want the families to know that Santa's here, not somewhere else.
Yes.
But then maybe set it up and we were thinking about doing like an Easter celebration. So like just before Easter, doing a day where we have people come out and they hunt for Easter eggs, but then they actually come and pick up their bikes. So it would be something that would be pre-registered, prepaid for, and do it that way. And then we can come and pick up in bulk, because we are in Rock County, which is not right next door to you.
Yeah.
How practical is I don't have kids, so is that, I don't know how fast they grow in summertime. So are they going to change heights in, during Christmas to, Easter, maybe compensate for that, or is that the problem?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, no, I think you hit on several things. So one thing is, I would need to get your registration sheet to you earlier. I could entirely do that. I typically I'm like, okay, the next 2 days are prepping these registration sheets, and that's all I'm doing is, prepping all of that for you. I can work with you on that to get that earlier, because I love that opportunity. Another thing I'm going to mention is, in case other people were thinking about that, is like, oh, I wonder if she's ever given bikes away for Christmas. We get that request a lot. We've worked with Angel Tree. We've worked with Toys for Tots. One of the challenges is, the reason we time our program to give those bikes in spring is that's when people want to start riding, and it makes sense. The people we serve typically don't have underground parking. They don't have garages. And so Christmas bikes often will sit in a rack under a snowbank all winter. By the time they're time to ride them, the whole drive chain's rusted, and they're not usable. So we typically avoid that, but we have done that when it's like Strider bikes, which are the balance bikes, or little tiny bikes that they can store in their apartments. So know that that's possibly an option. We don't often have a lot ready by then, but if that was on any of your minds. And then it sounds like, so there was one other, the growing, that's if we just had that crystal ball. I wish I had that for my kid, right? My son he doesn't grow much. He's tiny like me, but often we'll say, if one of the factors is, do they know how to ride a bike? If they don't know how to ride a bike, I would downsize that. So we want their knees bent a little bit so they're more comfortable. They can catch themselves. If they're a biker boss and they can do it, often you can size up. And we want to do that because we don't want them to grow out of those bikes. So know that. Anything else on that, Michelle, that I missed?
Sorry, I'm frozen.
Okay, that's okay. I can still hear you.
Oh, okay. I guess the other thought that I had, sorry, I'm just trying to
It's okay. There's a
get
lot
my
to this.
thoughts.
It's complicated. Yes, we get it.
And then my thought is as well is to try to get donations of bikes or helmets or locks or anything, like do a drive during the pickup and everything and see if we can partner up, because we get bikes all the time that are used. And we try to give them to somebody that might need them or whatnot. But maybe just encouraging having a Easter celebration, people picking up bikes, but then pick helmets and stuff like that. And then anything that we wouldn't, like bikes that are used that need to be fixed up, we would bring to you.
Yeah.
And then overabundance of helmets, if it's something that could be shared with another nonprofit, or if our people that are picking up the bikes we can do. But
Yes.
would that be something that would be helpful?
It would be incredibly helpful. And I'll just give you a few tips on that. So one thing about, like, if you're receiving donated bicycles, like I kind of prefaced at the start, was most of the reason that bikes are donated is because they're broken. And so if you don't have that ability to do that refurbishment or that repair, that can be really tricky. And we're actually partnering with a group in the Fox Valley that they did a bike donation drive. And their thoughts were, oh, we'll just pump up the tires and give them away. But then they realized, oh, this is much more than we thought. So they're going to be bringing them to us. Then we'll truck them back to them and then they will distribute. So feel free to bring them to us. We can refurbish. We have about 120 active volunteers that will be all on the benches working and cleaning, and really we do everything, even like we do our best to even take rust off, so we want them to look good. We want people to love these bicycles, and them, of course, to be safe. That is the key. Is people like having teeth. Then if your handlebars aren't locked down tight, what's going to happen. So these are vehicles. Human body against the road is not we know who's going to win that in that argument. So really important for them to be safe and refurbished. We do accept bicycles year round. Probably it's most difficult for us to, we really do, we get them year round. So we really press hard in like September through December to get them, because then we can look at our inventory. And now I know when I'm working with all of you here, oh, wow, we received 3,000 bikes donated. We know typically 10% of those are going to be shaved off that can't be fixed. They're going to be the boneyard. They're going to just be parted out. And now I've got maybe this many to work with. And I always kind of put a buffer in there too. So then I can know, okay, how many do I give to Julie? How many am I giving to Elise? How many am I giving to Michelle? And I can try to do my best. It's kind of like balancing a broom on your hand, but we do what we can do. And oftentimes, we might say in the end, hey, guess what? We have 5 more for you if you want them.
Just one thought I had as you're talking about trying to get those bikes in that fall time frame is with the Wisconsin League, for the mountain biking league. Our last race of the season is at the Trek Trails in Waterloo, Wisconsin in the end of October. I don't know if it'd be worthwhile, and I can maybe even talk to Renee, the league director, that we could have your organization come with a truck, set up that weekend at the race, and we could send something out to our entire league and say, hey, who's got extra bikes sitting around in your garage you're willing to donate?
Yeah.
You might get a lot of bikes.
This is true. That's a great idea. We are doing a collection event here on October 4th, and then we're doing a massive one in Milwaukee, October 25th.
Okay, and our last race of the season is the week before the 25th.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, keep us posted on that.
Yeah.
One other caveat is when we do those in offsite, so like for our Milwaukee drive, one thing that happens, and I remember hearing like Goodwill and St. Denis talking about this, a lot of people just take it as an opportunity to bring junk. And so what we'll often have to do is line up kind of a metal scrapper that's there with a trailer as well, because there's no need for us to haul all that broken stuff to us. Like we've gotten bikes that look like they've been sitting at the bottom of a lake for 2 years, right?
Yep.
That we barely can use those parts. So people will see that as an opportunity to clean out their barn, and they might be, 50, 70-year-old bikes.
Yeah.
They're cool looking. We love those, but we can't even get parts for them, and they just take up a lot of our space. So know that is that other piece. So if you're doing a bike donation drive, have a policy like gently used. You'll see us use that a lot. Gently used for us is flat tires, broken brakes, but they're still refurbishable, if that's a word.
And
so
at least with this community, they're all people who bike. So you're going to
Yes,
have people
they would know.
they understand bikes a bit more than what an average person
exactly.
does.
Yep. There's definitely something to be said about the knowledge and this. Yeah. So excellent questions, everybody. Thank you. So how are we doing? Steve, you got something there? Because you're serving, Steve, you're still muted, but I'm just saying Steve's serving a homeless population in Milwaukee. So that's slightly different because they don't have a home base. Let me see if there you go.
Part of okay, can you hear me now?
I can, yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're bringing up a lot of questions with the homeless community. And in Milwaukee, the problem is not just people that are sleeping on the street, but there's a lot of families that are double and sometimes triple housed in the same, sharing the same apartment. So
yes,
the 53206 zip code is probably the one of the most impoverished zip codes in the nation, and so we're struggling with abject poverty there. So I think I've got a number of thoughts, but I think you and I need to just kind of sit down. I need to talk to the managing director. The funding problem is huge, and so it's slightly different situation, but it is a remarkable need, and bikes are really in demand, both as transportation for people that are trying to get jobs, and then just to get kids moving about the neighborhood.
Yes. I'm going to throw a couple, because we've served a lot of homeless people. It is always challenging because, some are living out of their car. Where are they going to store their bike? Now they find their bike was locked to a tree. Someone stole the saddle off it, right? Like they don't have these resources, and it's very challenging. Couple thoughts is something like we could do something like send 5 bikes over to you, and you almost have like a bike library. And you're loaning it out if you have somewhere to store them. That's the trick, is storage is 5 bikes takes up a lot of space. The Boys and Girls Club in Milwaukee has a bike repair program. So we often give them, they want broken bikes from us because they have youth that are learning to be bike mechanics. We do that here as well because, boy, these are vehicles. You have to have the knowledge and how to repair them to keep them on the road. Maybe there's a potential partnership opportunity.
I think so. Yeah.
They're well funded. They hate me saying this on YouTube Live, but they are. And but so maybe there's a partnership opportunity there. And we do we have volunteers that come and go to Milwaukee. We could probably say, hey, can we put a couple bikes on your car and you drop them?
Well, I can do the transportation. Yeah. I have access to a trailer. We could haul maybe 30 bikes.
Lovely. Yeah. Just where to store them and find someone that has an extra garage open.
And then, the timelines are also a big one. So, let me think about it. Let me talk about it. And
excellent.
Then I can, let's see, I've got Ryan's number. Is the same number?
Yes, that's our bike center. So it's 608-405-0385. So 608-405-0385 is the phone number here at the shop. And Julie's got a question.
My question is, are you also looking for volunteers to learn how to repair bikes in Madison, since we're in Dane County?
Yeah, you are. Okay. And yeah, what we do is we run fall bike mechanics youth repair workshops, and we do that with Madison Metropolitan School District. One of the things, though, we just have not been able to get that funded. I've applied for so many grants, and we just get told no. And so we'll keep trying. I've got several grants in right now. So I've got 3 schools that want to participate. We're hoping to do 2 of those. One is in queue, but it really depends on funding. We have to have, qualified staff that can run those programs. One of the other challenges, I just got a request, someone asking, oh, can you bring your bike repair program to Stoughton? And so I did a video on Facebook. You'll see it, and it's video of the thousands. We probably have over, millions of bike parts in here. And when you think about bikes, there's many different brands of parts. It's not like cars where there might be 12 main brands, right? There's hundreds. And it takes so many parts. And we're also working with a lot of grease and grime. So I also showed the floor. Like, we've had people want us to do that in a school. If we did that in a school, well, it would take hours and hours of packing on the 3 of us that are already working 6 days a week. And then the loading. And then we really would just be able to teach you, like, changing inner tubes, really basic stuff. And our programs go deeper than that. We really want you to be a resource to your family, your friends, your apartment complex, and to have the opportunity for employment as a potential bike mechanic. So think about that. So the one thing is, we just need the people to get here. We do also do summer bike repair programs for youth, and that's in partnership with other organizations that are doing summer camps. And so we had kids come here. They bussed over from Nakusa, a 2-hour bus ride. We had them come 3 times this summer. We had a couple groups from Oshkosh, and then we get regular groups from Madison area. So that's a great program if you want to do that with your kids, and you want to, because you can't, just like fixing a car, you can't just show someone once and then say, okay, now you know. You've got to come back, and you don't want also to know just enough to be dangerous and then to wreck that bike.
Right.
Just a one-day training?
One second, Marty. We'll finish up with Julie, and I'll put you in the queue.
Okay.
Sorry, one thought that I had is some of the individuals that we work with, some of them have been laid off, or some of them are older adults that have mechanical skills. And that's where I was thinking, like, maybe if we found the right kind of person who had the right kind of skills, is that someone who could actually assist you?
Absolutely.
That's where I was going.
During the day, our bike shop, we've got about 12 workstations. So that's bike stands, benches, tool sets. It's filled with retirees. And when you're here, Ben and Harvey, boy, they invest a lot in our volunteers. So if you only know how to clean a bike, that's fantastic, but you are going to walk out knowing a lot more than that. But if you know to do more, they will guide you in that. And so that naturally happens when you're here. Every time you come in and every time you leave, you know more than when you left, because we're processing thousands of bicycles. So it's a great opportunity for that.
Yeah.
Great question. Thanks, Julie. All right. How are we doing?
I've got some.
Marty, yes.
Okay, I've got 3 quick questions. Can you transport bikes in an open trailer?
Yes. We did have someone do that once, and one flew off on the highway, but so it takes a lot of ratchet straps. You've got to, stack them. We'll show you how to stack them. But ratchet straps. It is one of the risks you run, is one flying off. Fortunately, nothing bad happened, but when we got back, we were like, oh, there was 71 on here, or whatever the number was. And we were like, oh boy. But yeah.
Okay, and you said you have volunteers on your end. How many volunteers would we need on our end to get them off the truck?
Oh, well, it really depends how many you've got and what the unloading situation is. The way we typically do that, we have a loading dock here. So if you can pull right up to it, we have 2 people unloading. And if you're not like a big truck that matches up to the loading dock space. Then we have 2 people handing up, 2 people on the inside stacking, maybe 3 people on the inside running them to sorting piles. We have them sorted by size or condition. But let's say you can't get your truck, like in Milwaukee, when we do that drive, we're gonna have semis. So we'll have 2 people in the truck walking them. We'll have 2 people standing at the loading gate, lifting and lowering, and then we'll have probably 8 people rolling them to the truck. So it's teams, and it really is dependent on how close you are to the location where they're ending up. I say it often that bikes are a pain in the butt to move unless your butt is on it. And you can just look at my shins and Ben and Harvey's shins that are all bruised from pedals. And sometimes when you're doing a bike donation drive, you will get bikes that do not roll. So you have to think about that. You're going to be lifting. So this is where we love to engage the high school football team or the high school soccer team that needs some volunteer hours. Get those kids in there. The young knees, that's Ben over here. We got young knees and elbows, even though his elbow's hurting today from the incident mentioned earlier.
Okay, my last question. The training, is it only one day? You talked about busing kids for 2 hours to get there. Are they with you only for one day and then they go home that night?
Yeah, they did. That's how Nakusa did it. They came 3 separate times. So,
Okay.
and they were here all day. So basically like a 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We're so overtime.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? So great. Thank you all for bringing your brain power and your great questions and your openness to partnering with us. We appreciate that a lot. Okay, stay tuned.
Thank you. We'll talk.
Keep those wheels upright. What's that, Steve?
I said, we'll talk later.
Okay, let's do that. All right.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. Nice to put a face to your name, Marty.
Yeah, same here. I'm looking
Great.
forward to our partnership.
Yes, same here. It's complicated. There's a lot of complexities to work out. So
It's all doable. It's exciting.
okay, great,
All right.
fantastic.
Thank